Hello, Mr. Del Toro. We are here in London talking about your new movie.
Yes.
It's called Crimson Peak, and it's a gothic romance, a beautiful one, I have to say. After seeing the film, the first thing that came to my mind was that it's the perfect marriage of talent and material. Could you tell us something about the genesis of this movie?
Yeah, I've been in love with the Gothic romance since I was a kid. My mother, the first movie she took me to at age 4 was Wuthering Heights with Laurence Olivier, so Gothic was imprinted in my brain. And when I was a kid, I discovered literary classics, Hunchback of Notre Dame, Frankenstein, and Jane Eyre, you know, and they were all very important for me. And Jane Eyre was very moving. I thought it was such a complex character, you know, and it was very feminine. And as I grew older, I read every Gothic romance and every Gothic novel, The Monk, Castle of Otranto, all Anne Radcliffe's novels, E.T.A. Hoffman stories, and so on and so forth. And I became entranced by the fact that Gothic romance has lasted for over 200 years. And yet, it's been out of favor in movies at this scale for 40 or 50 years. So I wanted to do a grand, sort of lavish, beautiful Hollywood sweeping movie with beautiful camera work, beautiful design that was still creepy and dark.
As you've emphasized in interviews before, this is a romance first and a horror movie second. Why is this distinction so important to you?
Well, it's very important to understand that the Gothic romance is neither of those things. It's a combination. It's also very fueled by fairy tale conventions in a way, because it's ultimately, there's a famous children's story called Bluebeard and His Wives, you know, and is the same story than Crimson Peak. And it has that magical beauty to it, the Gothic romance. The house breathes and bleeds, and there is snows inside the house. There's a certain, and for people expecting straight horror, you know, you're not gonna get a guy being tortured, and if you're expecting straight romance, you're not gonna get a happy ending. So you need to know that it's a new flavor that is so new because it's so old. It has a tradition.
What amazes me with this movie is the amount of detail you put into this picture. One can see, you know, the art direction, the colors. Nothing seems to be coincidental there. It's all deliberately planned. What's the intention behind all this work?
Well, there is an amount of storytelling that is visual, that is not just a screenplay. Like the movie tells you what it is if you pay attention to the visuals, like a painting would tell you. You know, we fixate on the subject of movies, on the screenplay of movies, but I think that a lot of the storytelling takes place visually. So you have not only beautiful costumes or beautiful sets, but these sets and these costumes tell you who the characters are, how they live. They define the drama of the movie. When you see that house, you understand a lot about those two characters. When you see Edith's house in America, you understand a lot about her, the way they dress. So it's what I call, instead of eye candy, I call it eye protein, because it actually is nutritious. It tells you part of the story.
So one can say they're visual metaphors.
Not only that, for example, very clearly we art direct the whole first part of the movie to be gold. America is gold, tobacco, sepia, very beautiful, golden, almost like an amber droplet. And then the second half of the movie is in cyan and blue and very cold and dark. So there's a transition. And then, to another example, we never, ever, ever, ever dress anyone or do anything in red in the movie, except the ghosts, the clay, and Lucille. So the red, subliminally, the movie is telling you red is bad news, and it's all related. So they are storytelling tools. Then you hide in the house. We use the metaphor of butterflies and moths in the movie, and we make the dresses, the furniture in the shape of butterflies. We put butterflies in the wallpaper, on the patterns on the floor, and so on and so on. So you layer all these details, and ultimately, whether the audience makes them out or not, they are receiving all this information.
Well, there's no denying this is a masterpiece.
Thank you, man.
And will there be a Hellboy 3?
I hope so. If Ron Perlman inherits $105 million from his rich uncle.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you.